I spent an amazing time in Moldova. So I really like your country,
Oh,
and the people were so helpful, really. I was even like I was surprised how nice everybody was, because when
aw,
you think about the prison environment, you always think about those tough guards,
yeah.
and the people, at least the people who work in the maternity units there, I mean, like, they are just the sweetest. They are so nice. They are amazing with kids. It sometimes it even felt like the mothers are the bosses there, not the guards. So
Oh,
I was very positively surprised that how everything works there, and the fact that that the Moldova was so open to go ahead with this project. It's my friend. I'm like, now I call him a friend, Vlad. He works for the prison system in Moldova, and when I told him about this project, he really saw a potential.
mm-hmm.
So if not for him, probably it wouldn't happen. So I'm
Yeah.
very pleased that he actually thought it would be something good for the mothers and for the children.
Hi, Jadwiga, and welcome to my podcast.
Hello, hi. Good to hear you.
Good to hear you too. Thank you so much
And thank
for,
you for the uh,
yeah,
yeah, and thank you for the invitation. Sorry,
it's,
I'm awful with just talking over other people. Sorry.
oh no, do you know what? I am the same, so I think we'll keep cutting each other. Thank you so, so much. Honestly, I'm so honored to talk to you. As I was saying
And I'm very
earlier,
pleased. Yeah.
oh, I was saying earlier to you, but I'll quickly say that I learned about you through BBC, the article on BBC that my friend sent it to me. And I'd like to know more about you. And as we have a limited time, I'll just quickly go through the questions and learn
Yeah.
more about you.
Okay.
Okay, so Jadwiga, we live in times when so many people have access to their phone camera or even professional cameras, and they take hundreds and hundreds of pictures every day. And however, some of them are so meaningless, especially selfies and everyday selfies. I mean,
Yeah.
and when I saw your pictures, however, and your project, I can see that you actually understand the power of an image and you want to send a message through that image. And I really wonder, where did you get your drive and what prompted you to use photography in such a powerful way in order to break stereotypes and dig such emotional stories?
Oh, it's a long question.
Sorry.
uh, No, that's okay. I mean, like, I always knew the power of photography.
Hmm.
So not only photography as a powerful tool to tell the stories, but as a kind of like a photography, you can use that in photography techniques as a tool to help people.
Hmm.
So there is a lot of psychologists and psychiatrists that they used photography in their therapy. So this kind of like knowledge of photography as a powerful tool to help people, it's kind of like been used for many years. Um, why I used photography and memory, because memory is another important thing in this project. That's why I call it a good memory project, the project that I did in Moldova.
Hmm.
It's because when it's simply impossible for a human to keep accurate recollection of all the events that happen during our lifespan. So that's why we remember things differently, and that's why sometimes we remember things that somebody else don't remember,
Hmm.
and that comes the power of photography. So photography kind of like extended this memory, or I wanted the picture to be like a trigger. So our heads, that we just don't have enough memory ram to just remember everything. So I
Hmm.
was thinking, through photography, there are those particular moments that you can capture, and that's what I hope stay with the mothers and with the children. So that's why in my project, the Good Memory Project, I believe that those photos of the good memories between the mothers and the children can not only help mothers with the rehabilitation, that it can kind of like build for self-esteem and develop self-identity more as a caring, responsible mother than a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so that's why all the images were kind of like carefully planned. I mean, like they are spontaneous snapshots, but they were particular moments when I decided when it's a good time to take the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And very important as well for it was to take the pictures the way that you can't see that they are taken in a prison, because that's another kind of like important aspect of carrying on those memories through photography, the good ones. So when you look at the image, you don't think, oh, it was in the prison. You kind of like focus only on the relationship between a mother and a child. But yeah, so and why the second part of your question was about, you know, breaking the stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, you know, this project is as much for the mothers as for the children, and the children did nothing wrong. So it's not only kind of like the mothers don't have a pictures of 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 them and the children in the prison, but the children will, you know, ending up without those images. So that's why it's kind of like it was very important for me to children have those images. And when it comes to the stereotypes of mother in prison, it's very heavy in media. It's like every time you see some images of a motherhood, you see the mother behind the bars, or, you know, chained to the bed, and unhappy children. And it's not like that. I mean, like, there are bad two sides to the story, but we shouldn't be always focusing on the negative,
Mm-hmm.
because then those mothers, when they leave the prison, they are going to be punished for the life of the rest of their life, not only a year or two that they spend in a prison, but this kind of like they're going to be marginalized by society, kind of like and that's impacts the children as well. And when they are in prison, they are actually they are amazing moms. I mean, like uh, um uh, during the pregnancy and during being a new mom, it's a time of transformation. We change. We are more emotional. We are more hormonal. We've put our children on the first place, and us as a human on the second. So that's why I think it's a perfect time to use the moment when they are in a prison and they are all new moms, hormonal and emotional, to use that moment to kind of like rehabilitate them. So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost, that's why I decided to, I mean, like, this project is a part of my PhD, in which I'm trying to prove that we can use those images to rehabilitate the mothers. So it's kind of like help them to stop reoffending and become to be kind of like a better citizenship and citizen and better mom.
Mm-hmm. You speak so
Sorry, I
passion.
like that.
No, no, no.
That's
I love,
yeah, it's
I love listening to
yeah,
you.
I
Keep
can talk
talking.
about it a lot. So yeah, I know.
I was
Sorry,
just
no
going to
problem.
say, oh my God, don't apologize. I was just going to say that you speak so passionately about this project, and with all the projects that you've done before as well. You spend so much time with these people, and you give them the attention that they need and make them feel cared for. And I wonder if you can detach from these stories, or are you extremely involved all the time? And if you can detach after as well, or and also
I can't.
you can't. Do you feel
No, it's
changed?
impossible. Oh yes, each
Yeah.
single project changed me massively, and I mean, like, it's if you want, I mean, it's impossible to be detached from the project. If
Yeah.
especially when you work in a social photojournalism and you really want to understand the people, you can't. You have to, it's like, I'm very empathetic person, so you kind of like you have to put yourself in their situation. You have to understand them. That's why it's not just about taking pictures, it's about spending time with them, it's about talking to them. You really have to understand to be able to take those images to kind of like tell the story. Oh, sorry,
It's
was
okay.
that my yeah, it was my yeah, because I talk through the computer. So I mean, like, we
Ah,
live in a 21st century with coronavirus pandemic, so obviously
yeah.
there will be those little distractions. um So yeah, each single project changed me. The project, especially that the projects that I choose, they are kind of like related to my life at particular time. So with my project about invisible people of Belarus, I was born in '86. My mom would call me a Chernobyl child. The anniversary of the 30 years was coming when I was, turning 30, and I wanted to understand more about the time, because my mom was keep saying, "Oh, your grandma was giving iodine to protect you from the impact of Chernobyl disaster." So this project was kind of like emotional for me as well, and I was attached to it. With this project, I am a new mom, and during my pregnancy with my first daughter, I was suffering from prenatal and postnatal OCD,
Mm-hmm.
and that takes you to the very dark place, and you start thinking about, mom being locked up, and how they are separated from the children or not. And I mean, like, that's how this whole idea kind of like, came to life. So that's why it's kind of like impossible the moment you meet those moms. It's impossible to kind of like be just a photographer. You do get attached, and it's changed you for life.
Yeah. I was just going to ask you, how do you choose your projects, but you just answered to that already, because they all seem very personal to you. But how do you choose the actual countries that you want to go to?
I mean, like with Belarus, was with the invisible people of Belarus, it was quite a simple choice, because when it comes to the Chernobyl disaster, and it didn't, even that Poland was impacted by it. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't impacted as Belarus. Belarus was even more than Ukraine. It's the country that suffered the most, and it's still suffering the most. So that's why I decided to go there. When it comes to Moldova, it was more that during my pregnancy, I met a person who do a lot of beautiful charities in Moldova, and we were talking a lot. I was talking about my project in Belarus. She was talking to me about the projects he does as a charity person in Moldova. So when I start thinking about the new project about mothers in prison, just it kind of like naturally came to me that I should do that in Moldova. Um, One of the reasons is that I'm Eastern European, and I sometimes feel like a lot of people, even here in UK, they kind of like put all of us to one bucket, like we are Eastern Europeans. And
Mm-hmm.
they then a lot of people, when I was talking about my project in Belarus, they didn't have a clue where the Belarus is. Then when I asked people about Moldova, they didn't even have a clue if that is in Europe.
Yeah.
So for me, as an Eastern European, I kind of feel like there was a time in the past that I wanted to travel the world, going to Papua New Guinea or Cuba. But to be connected with your project, you have to do it in your kind of like your backyard,
Yeah.
in your own home. So Eastern Europe, it's my home, and I think that that helps me to connect with the people I photograph better, because it's the similar mentality, and we do share a lot of history when it comes to all the post-Soviet times, and I think that that's what makes me understand the country I work in.
Okay, so now let's go to your actual experience in Moldova. First of all, I wanted to ask you, do you speak Russian by any chance? How did you get along with people?
No,
No. Did you have a translator all the
no.
time? No.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
like when I'm there and I talk to the kids, I just talk in Polish.
Oh,
So, because instead of speaking in English, which they completely don't understand, there is a lot of people who speak Russian in those prisons, or in Moldovan, or there is some mothers that they've got some Ukrainian background, which is very similar to Polish.
mm-hmm.
And when I was in Belarus, I spent a lot of time in Belarus, so kind of like I've learned a little bit of, not I don't talk, but I would understand bits,
Yeah.
and that would help me. So when I was sometimes talking to kids, they felt less strange. They kind of like look at me, especially that, a lot of them, they are babies, or they are a year or 2 years old, so their vocabularies, they are almost non-existent. So I just felt that when I speak to them in Polish, they just feel that maybe I sound a little bit
Oh,
similar to their moms. But it's how I said earlier. I had a massive support from an amazing person, Vlad. I'm not quite sure if I'm pronouncing his surname correctly. Busmaciu.
Busmaciu?
Busmaciu.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, like, he works for the prison system, and that's the person I connected with in the first place. And his main job working for the prison system is to actually work with international people to help develop a better environment and better life for prisoners in Moldova. And he saw the potential in this project, and he helped me straight away. And when I was visiting the prisons, it was him who found a person, a woman, Susanna, an amazing person who works for him as well, and she was going with me to the prisons as a translator.
Hmm.
We wanted to find somebody who speak English, but at the same time a person who knows the prison system. So not just any translator, but a person who would feel comfortable being in a prison, because it
Yeah.
is a completely different. It is a different environment. It's not just you can just walk in and not everybody feel comfortable straight away. So that's why it was very important that my translator would be a person, a female. I said straight away, it needs to be a female,
Yeah.
and the person who would feel comfortable in prisons. Um, and they were amazing, and even people who worked in the prison system, in the guards, I mean, like, they were so helpful, so nice, and I was maybe from, again, my perception of prisons is what I saw in media, and usually you see those tough guards, um, but maybe they are in different prisons, but not in a baby units, because the guards I met, they are really, it doesn't matter if it is a female or a male, they are so helpful. They love those kids. They always says to me, well, it's not the kids are not in a prison, it's the mothers, and we cannot forget that. And they love those kids, they really look after them, and they treat the mothers with respect. And I was just, yeah, very, very positively surprised how well they are being treated, because that's completely opposite to some of my experience in Belarus,
Hmm.
but it's slightly different topic. And I didn't have much time to spend time outside of prisons, if I can say like that, because I mean, like, I every time I was going to Moldova, I was leaving behind my little daughter, and I even left her for her second birthday, because I had to work around the schedule, and I wanted to spend as much time as I can in Moldova. So every time I would go first thing in the morning, after breakfast, straight to the prison, stayed until it started to get dark. So I was trying to just use the opportunity to be, as much as I can inside the prisons.
Hmm.
So I didn't spend much time just wandering the streets. I would go a few times, to grab a coffee, or have some food, but I didn't really explore the country as I should, really.
Don't worry, I'm sure you'll have another opportunity. And
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, like, the coronavirus is the only reason why I'm not
yeah,
visiting the moms, and I feel kind of the last few months I really feel a little bit guilty, because for some of those mothers I was the only visitor, and very important
yeah,
for people in prison to have visitors that they come regularly. It
yeah,
actually impacts them um, strongly. It's like, even in UK, the statistic shows that the females in prison that they've got a regular visitor, they tend to not re-offend. 40% of them, they don't re-offend. So it is very important to have this emotional support, that there is somebody. And I think that in the last year, because I was visiting and spending so much time with them, I feel bonded. I feel like they are waiting there for me, and I can't wait to just go and see them and bring more pictures.
Oh, I was reading about that in one of the articles, and it's just so sad that they don't get visitors. Is it
It
about the
is, and one
location?
of the reason, one is the location, of course,
Hmm.
because you've got just two prisons in. I mean, like Moldova, it's not a massive country, but they are just two prisons, and they are both next to Chisinau. Uh, uh, that they are keeping mothers and children. So if somebody is from north, it is a long drive, and if the mother got, you know, no, just to be, completely honest, a lot of those mothers have lost their families.
Hmm.
A lot of them, they are single moms. A lot of them, they are the family. The moment they went to the prison, they kind of like stopped visiting. Um, Sometimes they've got the loving families, but it's the distance, and not everybody drive, not everybody can afford a car. So it's not very easy for them to take a bus all the way from north, especially if it's an elderly mother. There is variety of different reasons why some of them, of course, do have a visitors, and I'm not saying it does happen,
Yeah.
but it's not that every month the month got somebody coming and visiting.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, if there is a situation that the mother was the only person looking after the children, her other children would go to the orphanage. So the orphanage do not organize trips for the moms other children to come and visit her,
Hmm.
because it's not, yeah. So the mothers miss their children, especially if they were the only mothers looking after, and and they've got other kids outside of prison.
Hmm.
So it is very important for them. And that's another reason, the fighting the stereotype of motherhood in prison. And it's a lot of maybe family don't want to come to visit them because of this negativity, that's how people look at mothers prisoners.
Yeah.
um yeah, and I believe that everybody deserves a second chance.
Exactly. I was going just to quickly say the reason why I was asking you if you speak Russian was because I saw your book is translated in Russian. So you have a book, a limited edition. I'll put the link to it if anyone is interested. It's a photo book related to the previous project that you did, Invisible People of Belarus, which you talked about. So it's available in two languages, English and
Yes.
Russian. So that's the only reason why I was asking you. I was curious if you spoke Russian, but it all
No,
makes
I had
sense
to.
now.
Yeah, I had to use a translator. Yeah, it is very important for me. When I make books, it's not just for viewers here in UK. English is international language, but very important for me was working in Belarus is that there is, now when everything was going on in Belarus, people are more aware of a difficult regime that exists in Belarus, and
Yeah.
there was nothing like free media. So that was very important for me to make a book in Russian, so people in Eastern Europe, people in countries that they were occupied or still are by Russia, that they can get to understand this project, because it's the writing, it's more political than the images, let's put it that way.
Yeah. That's a really amazing work that you've done, and I wish you best of luck with all your future projects. And talking about future projects, do you have already something in mind or not yet?
Not yet, because I don't feel like I'm completely finished with this project. It's a project that I want to do in different prisons. It's a project that I want to do my PhD in, because I really truly believe that those images can help mothers in prison, and I still want to go and visit moms. Go back to Moldova and take some more images. I didn't see kids for so many months because of coronavirus. So
Hmm.
I I think that I still feel like this project is not finished, and of course I would like to make a book of it, and create like a joint big photo album, because during that project I introduced mothers with the photo album. So I found a sponsor who bought nice photo albums for the mothers, and every time I would bring the images, their work was to put the images in, write some quirky messages, little, thoughts, create the baby photo albums, which I scanned.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to make a book that it's kind of like my cooperation with the mothers. So kind of like joined all the baby albums into one. So I would like to go back, work with them on the design, ask them which pages do they want to choose. So I want them to be involved in a creation of the book as well.
That sounds amazing, and I'll keep following you and your work. And whenever this will be on, I'll just share it with people so that they all buy it. Lovely to speak to you. I won't keep you too long because you already gave me so much time. Have a nice day.
Okay,
All the best and a lot of health to your family.
thank you. Same to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.